Hello there, adventurers, and welcome to Wally DM. Today our adventuring party is exploring a dungeon or an underground lair, and they enter a maze. Now this entire maze is shrouded in magical darkness, and the only thing that can penetrate this magical darkness is the lamp or the light of an approaching goblin. Now this is a puzzle that you can find in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything called Eye of the Beholder. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want more puzzles, be sure to pick up a copy of my book, Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters, available now on DriveThruRPG. So in this puzzle, our adventuring party is traveling through a dungeon or an underground lair. They get to a section where there is a four-way intersection where they can continue traveling either east, north, or west. It's at this time that a disorienting wave of complete magical darkness sweeps over them, and suddenly their surroundings are unfamiliar and shrouded in shadows. And then out of the darkness, a light approaches them, and they see a goblin, and he greets them with a friendly tone.
Hello, friends. I can help you through these parts, if you can figure out my riddles. You don't want to make a wrong turn in here, as there are eyes everywhere. Solve the riddles, and follow my directions to the letter.
So our adventurers are approached by this goblin. Now this goblin is friendly, and his name is Igor. Now Igor has been sent to help the adventurers out and to guide them through this dark labyrinth or this dark maze, but he has to do so in the form of riddles. Why is that? Well, that is up to you as the Dungeon Master to be able to determine. But regardless, the only source of light that's going to penetrate through this magical darkness is the lantern that Igor possesses. Now, if this lantern were to end up in the possession of one of the characters, then the lantern is going to cease to function. If the characters try to use magical light like the light cantrip or torches, or try to see through the magical darkness with their dark vision, it is not going to work. This maze is entirely blanketed by this unpenetrable magical darkness. Now, of course, it's not going to be likely that our characters are going to trust this goblin, so if you'd like to allow them a DC 10 insight check, you can let them know that the goblin does have good intentions and does seem to be here to help. So it's at this point that Igor is going to ask them if they're ready to begin, and once they give the okay, then he's going to reveal his first riddle.
What beast has the sharpest eye?
What beast has the sharpest eye? Do you know the answer? Well, the correct answer is going to be eagle. So if the characters come up with the answer eagle, then Igor is going to lead them to the east. And the correct answer and the corridor to the east is going to bring them to another intersection. And at this point, Igor will ask his second riddle.
Threads get pulled through the eye of what?
Threads get pulled through the eye of what? Do you know what the answer is? Well, the answer that Igor is looking for is a needle. Thread gets pulled through the eye of a needle. And if the characters say needle, then Igor is going to lead them to the north. Now we're ready for Igor's third riddle.
What is the eye to the soul?
What is the eye to the soul? Do you know the answer? Well, let's say that the characters come up with the incorrect answer, then the goblin has to lead them down the incorrect passageway. So this time he's going to lead them to the east. And when he leads them to the east, he's going to lead them to an area that is going to have a combat encounter. It's at this time that we will roll for initiative. Now, whatever you would like your combat to be, that's going to be entirely up to you. You could use shadows, or you could have something like a black pudding that's going to come from the walls and engulf the party. I really like the ideas of shadows or black puddings, but whatever you decide is totally up to the game that you want to run. So Igor is going to repeat the question. Now after a failure, he's going to try to give them a clue. Although for some reason, whatever his purpose is, he cannot give them the answer or lead them in the correct direction. But he can give hints on occasion, and on this one he would tell them,
well, it's something that you can look at outside of your house.
So the answer, if the characters come up with it, is a window. And with the answer window, Igor is going to lead them to the west. So on the second try, our characters make it safely to this point, and now if they are unable to get an answer to a riddle, they may pressure Igor into being able to give them a clue. With that in mind, I would probably allow a charisma persuasion check with a DC 15 in order for Igor to give a clue on the first try. If the characters fail on a riddle the first time, on the second and third time I would definitely make sure that they are given a clue by the goblin. Now, the clues are not provided in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. That's something that you're going to have to provide. Now, after the characters have solved 2 or 3 of the questions, I would have probably allowed them another insight check. This one will be a wisdom insight DC 15, and they're going to be able to determine that each of the answers actually corresponds to a cardinal direction. And I have this logged up here in the corner. As you can see, the first answer was eagle with an E. The second answer was needle with an N, and the third answer was window with a W. So that clue should provide some help the rest of the way out. But now we are only halfway through our maze, so Igor is going to ask them if they're ready for the next question. Once they agree, he'll ask them,
"For your next question, whose eyes matter to a witch's brew?"
Well, just remember that if you do get the answer incorrect, that Igor will be forced to take you down another path. And only one of these directions is a safe way to travel. So if he leads you this way, eventually you're going to run into a black pudding, or a shadow, or a few shadows, or whatever you decide. But let's say we work on that persuasion check and someone rolls a DC 15 or higher, then Igor would probably provide the following clue.
The answer is a type of lizard.
So the answer actually to the riddle is a newt. And with the correct answer, Igor is going to lead them north. And once again, they are in a safe area and ready for their next question. Now, with regards to the line of travel, the puzzle in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything states that if they come into the wrong direction and they do have a combat encounter, that they need to go back the way they came to their last known safe point. But up to you, if you want to run it more like a maze, then perhaps once we get in this clearing, then Igor can repeat the riddle and we can travel from there. I honestly do like the fact that they need to go back to the safe point, but let's not forget that these shadows or the black pudding may follow them back. Now, we still have a few questions to answer, but it also states in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, if the characters make 3 incorrect turns throughout the process of this entire puzzle, then they are going to encounter a beholder. So we definitely want to make sure that the characters are listening to Igor, listening to the clues, and thinking through with their answers, because after 3 wrong turns, running into this guy is not going to be a good time. But let's continue with our puzzle.
Your next question? The eye curses you with misinformation.
The eye curses you with misinformation. Do you know the answer? Well, the answer in the book is evil. And as we already know, it starts with an E. So Igor is going to lead them to the east. Once we are in the next safe area, Igor is going to give them their next question.
This eye brings a temporary calm.
This eye brings a temporary calm. Do you know the answer? Well, the answer the goblin is looking for is storm. And storm starts with an S, the eye of the storm, so we are going to be able to travel south. And of course, if the characters have not figured it out by this point already, they can figure out that each question and or answer has something to do with an eye. The eye of the beholder, as you already well know. Now that we're in our next safe area, Igor is going to take a look at the group and say,
I have one more for you, and then you will be safe and on your way. Roll a 1 on a 6-sided die, roll another and get the same. Take both together, and what's their name?
So a 1 on a 6-sided die and another 1 on a 6-sided die is known as Snake Eyes. And Snake Eyes is going to start with an S. So Igor is going to lead the party safely to the south. And after doing so, our adventuring party has successfully navigated the maze with Igor's help and can continue exploring the dungeon. So that's the Eye of the Beholder puzzle. And one of the questions that I have is, what is that goblin up to? The adventuring party enters this area of complete darkness. They've got to navigate 5 or 6 different paths in directions, north, south, east, or west, in order to get through it. And if they fail 3 times, they meet that guy. They meet a beholder in the middle. So what I'm thinking for this goblin is he's actually hired by this beholder to guide folks around the beholder, because this magical maze will take you directly to the beholder lair, and this beholder doesn't want to be bothered with. He just wants to relax and be left alone. So this goblin's responsibility is to go out and be able to do that. But of course, the beholder doesn't want him to just take him the correct way. He wants to be able to test and manipulate and have some fun watching the players try to navigate this maze with the riddles that he has given to the goblin. But of course, that's the way that I see this puzzle running. Be sure to leave a comment below and let me know what overall purpose this puzzle would serve for you in your game. So once again, that's the Eye of the Beholder puzzle that you can find in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. I hope you like this walkthrough, and if there's another puzzle from Tasha's Cauldron that you would like to see in demonstration, then I would be happy to do so. Just leave a comment below. So with that being said, what did you think of this puzzle? Is this something that you would run in your game? And if so, what would you do differently? Be sure to leave a comment below. I'm looking forward to getting a discussion going. Thank you very much for watching, and on to the next. Of course, missing on the wall behind me will probably be this guy. He's going to make an appearance as well. So I've got the beholder's going to make an appearance, the eyes at the end. So it's a decent puzzle.